Hello. So did you like the gong? I've always liked making noises, and my gong is one of the only instruments I've ever really learned to properly play. I do need to get a tambourine sometime. I think I could work a tambourine. I should let you know that my wonderful wife will most probably hate this edition of my blog. She's always chiding me. Write about happy things. Write about things that you'll be proud for your grandchildren to hear one day. I admit, she does have a point. Still, the idea of a future grandchild explaining to my son that he should be allowed to say things like shit because Grandpa does it on the pewter makes me smile. I do have an incredible life. 27 years happily married to my soulmate. My younger sister once spat at me in a fit of rage. You think you're so special because you've been married for over 20 years. I was like, yeah, pretty much. The thing is, I haven't been married for so long because I got lucky or just happened to find the right person, although I most definitely did find the right person. We've stayed married because both of us have made the decision that our marriage and raising our son was the most important thing. Our immediate family has always come first. It's not like we're perfect. I've screwed up. God knows I've screwed up. But when it comes down to it, my marriage and my son were always the most important thing. Both me and my wife have taken and left jobs because of what was the best for our relationship and our family. In spite of the many errors I committed in raising my son, no father could ask for a better child. I'm as proud as they come. I have a son that graduated college, is working hard, and has married a fantastic young lady. I'm not even going to mention my hope for grandchildren. I am happy and satisfied today with the status quo. I will also be quite ecstatic if the status quo happens to change sometime in the future. I have uncountable blessings in my life. Still, it's not the blessings that incite innumerable words to pour forth faster than my fingers can keep up. It's the shitty parts of life that gets my adrenaline pumping. It could be said that perhaps a cynical attitude runs in my family. I'm almost 50 now, and when I was growing up, I hardly even remember ever going to a full-service gas station. You know, the kind where you don't have to pump your own gas, an attendant does it for you. The closest my parents got to a full service was when me and my sister got old enough to pump the gas so they didn't have to get out of the car. We live in western New York now, and there is this thing called an Indian reservation nearby. The gas there is sold about 60 cents a gallon cheaper than everywhere else. Fill up the car, and that's not an insignificant savings. I guess maybe the Seneca Nation is a little-known member of OPEC or something. I know, they are an independent entity and not subject to many of the taxes that the government levies on the rest of us. If I happen to be near the res, it's worth it to fill up the car. At one of the stations, they also have a full-service lane. As I said, I've never really done that, but the line at the full-service lane was shorter. I was paying with cash, and the price was exactly the same. My aunt was sitting next to me in the passenger seat. We had been having a great day out looking at plant nurseries. I told her, I think I'm going to use the full-service lane. I mean, it was the same price, so why not? As the gas was being pumped, it hit me. Do I need to tip? The attendant was outside in the gas fumes, and it wasn't exactly a warm day. I didn't have time to pull out my cell phone for a quick Google search to find the appropriate tipping percentage for full-service gas stations. I gave the fellow a $3 tip. In hindsight, that's probably a little high for under 5 minutes work. As we left, my aunt told me, you know why you'll never have any money? It's because you're too nice. Nice guys finish last is something we've all heard. Nowadays, it's mostly used to describe men in the dating scene, but according to the magic of Google, it was originally used by Brooklyn Dodgers manager Leo Durocher in 1946 when talking about baseball. Do you think that's really true? Do you think that nice guys finish last? Sadly, it partly is. Not so much when you talk about family. I mean, I get along great with most of my family. Only a couple members have vowed to never speak or communicate with me again in this life or the next. But those people aren't the ones I would describe as nice. And in fairness, they wouldn't describe me as nice either, even though I am 99% genuine angel. Well, over 50% maybe. I'm a divine being. My religion tells me so. And when I pass into the spirit realm, I promise to only haunt people in the nicest possible ways. Sure, I may occasionally hide car keys and things like that, but it'll all be done in good fun. Niceness works in relationships with friends and family. But there is a line where being nice allows others to take advantage of you, or at least think they can take advantage of you. I've been a manager several times. I just don't have the temperament to be a successful manager. Businesses are only successful if they make a profit. Profitability only happens when the workers aren't paid quite as much as they are truly worth. This is reality. If every worker was compensated for exactly the amount that their effort contributed toward the earnings of the company would have exactly zero profits. This is the kind of thinking that makes ignorant fools rail against the evil corporations. As in most things, it's complicated. Profits allow for things like expansion, meaning more jobs. Profits allow for research and development, which is the reason the idiots protesting on Wall Street had things like cell phones instead of sending messages long distance by beating on drums. The quest for profits is the fuel in the engine of progress. A profitable company isn't necessarily evil, even if it means many workers are slightly underpaid for the work they do. It's the overpaid ones that really piss me off. As a manager, I saw firsthand that in order to be effective, in other words, maximize profits, one had to take advantage of the overachievers by giving them more work than the lazy ones. It went against my ingrained sense of fairness. I'm just not cut out to take advantage of people, even if they don't know it, that I'm taking advantage of them. It's not who I am. I'm a nice guy. I've learned through experience that I'm more happy being the worker rather than the person in charge of the workers. God, I sound like a frickin' Democrat. Currently, working for a major retailer as an electronics associate, I'm what you might call underemployed. In other words, a well-trained monkey could probably do most of my job. Although sometimes emotionally taxing, putting the correct box on the right place on the shelf is not much of a mental challenge. I like dealing with the public. Maybe not the assholes that sometimes find their way back into the electronics department, but I still get a rush when I can help a customer find exactly what they're looking for. I'm old and I don't really go out to bars, so the fact that my part-time job has scheduled me to work every single weekend in the last 5 months, other than the couple I specifically requested off, isn't a major annoyance. I always push myself to get all my tasks accomplished, so yeah, maybe I'm a little of an overachiever, at least at work. Recently, management has seen it as a profitable move to cut the staffing in the electronics department, leaving me alone many nights. And I hate to complain. No one likes a whiner. What point did I make earlier about successful managers taking advantage of the overachievers by giving them more work than the lazy ones? There was one truly shit job in my department, movie release night. New movies come out exactly at midnight as Monday night turns into Tuesday morning. It's a pain, literally and figuratively, to stalk all the new releases, especially from an older guy like me with a bad back. I guess that's where my personal line got crossed. I was scheduled every weekend. As the weeks have progressed, I was left without coworkers and expected to still get everything done. I'm working more hours than I care to, making about half what I used to. Last week it was decided that I should do the movie releases and work until 1 a.m. Tuesday mornings. Did I mention I wasn't even asked? I wasn't even told. It just appeared on my schedule and the management expected I would continue to do as I have been doing, take it all in stride with nary complaint. Shit doesn't fly. For a while. Work anyways. No more Mr. Nice Guy.